What's up, everybody? This is Chris Abbott, and I am here with
Jared Petty.
How's it going, Jared?
It's going well. We're looking at Sin and Punishment for the 125th anniversary of ye old Nintendo company. 125 years of playing cards, shooting gallery alleys, love hotels, and of course, great video games.
Oh, man, 125 years.
That's right. And here we're looking at Sin and Punishment. Now, Chris, Sin and Punishment comes to us from the fabulous land of
Japan.
That's right, from Japan. This was developed by some of the folks from Treasure, released by Nintendo in Japan. Did not come to the United States during the N64 run, but now is available to us via the wonders of Virtual Console. Also available on, or as a sequel, or available as that has a sequel on the Wii. Did you play the sequel, Chris?
I did not, but I correct me if I'm wrong, but that was like a pretty limited run, right?
I don't know how limited the run was. I grabbed it up right away. Yeah. So this is.
See, you're smart. I didn't. I slept on it and I could never find it. So.
All right. So what we're seeing here is Sin and Punishment's opening. It is a rail shooter, but unlike a lot of rail shooters, you're on the ground instead of flying, and you have somewhat limited mobility. You can double jump. You can roll right and left to avoid attacks. But other than that, I'm using the analog stick on the N64 controller to control my gun. I'm moving her around with the D-pad. I'm jumping with the shoulder buttons. And I also have a lock-on option here that I can utilize. Now, the problem with the lock-on is that while it makes aiming much easier, it also weakens my weapon.
Really?
So, yeah, it's a trade-off, and I can constantly switch between them. So for certain weaker enemies, I can use the lock-on to quickly hit lots of foes. But when I run into something tougher, I need to switch over from that. Yeah. It's looking at this on the N64, you know, again, N64 graphics aren't necessarily the most impressive things in the world, but this is actually really pretty. I like what they did with it.
Yeah, I was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
I was gonna say, like, I think a lot of people that love Nintendo 64, like, they kind of, if they revisit it now, they look back and they're like, man, I remember this looking way better. But I mean, even with that in mind, like, this looks really good for an N64 game.
It does. The colors are really well done. I like the art direction in it, and this centipede fellow is going to pop out here in a second and attack us. So this being a game by ye old folks at Treasure, that's going to mean lots and lots and lots of bosses. There are not actually all that many levels to this game. Instead, it's just a kind of a series of mini-boss and boss encounters broken up by some mooks every now and then. And you see these guys are dropping time.
Yep.
That's one of the elements of the game. If I were really patient, I could probably use... Oh, I walked into that. I could probably use my weaker weapon to attack these guys. But the problem is my time would eventually run out. So I've got to keep dealing enough damage to stay ahead of them and grab those time bonuses to keep the clock going. So you have that constant pressure here. It's a really, really neat game.
Can I ask you some questions about it?
Ask me any questions you like about it. So I promise to answer either with something enlightened, something ignorant, or something snarky. Probably ignorant, knowing me.
Maybe all three at once?
Yeah, possibly. That's pretty much my pattern in life.
I just want to know some facts about this game.
All right.
Because I've never played it before, and it looks like something I would have loved as a kid.
Okay.
So I guess first and foremost, I mean, N64 had a few quirky titles. This doesn't really seem like, you know, weird or anything. Why didn't Nintendo bring it overseas?
The truth of the matter is, I don't think anybody but Nintendo and Nintendo completely knows that, or Nintendo and Treasure.
Just one of those weird things that never happened.
Yeah, it may be that this came along, you know, right kind of smack in the middle of the N64's time on Earth, toward the late side. It may, but you can see there isn't a lot of localization to be done here. I mean, there's English language stuff here on the edge of the screen. Actually, that's one of the reasons they were able to bring it over in Virtual Console. But no, I really don't know why this didn't come over, man. I've heard rumors and stories, but I've never heard anybody give like an authoritative account as to why this didn't happen. And you know how quiet Nintendo can be about some of this stuff. So.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like, when I first discovered like message boards and forums or whatever, like, I always heard about this game. You know, but it's really cool to see it now. So, is there any? I mean, I want to talk a little bit about the Wii game. Is that a sequel in name only? Like, are there the same characters in it?
Okay, so the Wii game actually feels a lot like this. It's prettier. It's a very pretty game, and it has a really, really good two-player support, which I've fooled around with a lot. You also have more mobility in the Wii game. It's not a remake. It's a sequel. I mean, it's a definite sequel. You have the ability to move around the screen on kind of hoverboards.
Ooh.
And it's sort of, yeah, it sort of feels like something between like this and Panzer Dragoon. This game feels sort of Dragoonish, but it also has some things in common with like ground-based arcade shooters like Cabal, for example, which you may or may not have ever heard of.
I've heard you talk to me about.
Yeah,
it
I
before.
love Cabal.
Yeah.
I think of this as a Cabal shooter. Star Successor, like I said, is you're moving around the edges of the screen a lot more. But it still is a wonderful game. You see, I'm in danger of running out of time here. If I were good enough, I could have deflected that projectile back at them, but unfortunately...
Well, why aren't you good enough, man?
Well, I mean, because I'm bad at video games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, and I screwed that up.
That's why
too.
you work here, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, that's I keep telling people hear that. But yeah, any
So
other
you
questions
said-
about this?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, give me a lowdown. Like, how many different weapons are there?
Oh, in this game
Yeah.
or in Star Success? Actually, weapon power-ups are not a huge part of this. Treasure's got a habit in their games of just handing you a set of tools at the beginning and just sort of letting you go with it.
Okay.
You ever play Radiant Silvergun?
Yes.
Okay, so
very
it's-
briefly.
Yeah, same
I'm-
kind of. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So Radiant Silvergun, one of its great innovations, it was a shooter, and it gives you all 7 weapons at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
And it just sort of hands you the tools and lets you work with what you have available at the time. I love this. Just look at this. What is this guy? I don't even know. I mean, he's a crab
Giant
seamer.
enemy
It
crab.
saes so. Yeah, but I like you.
Man, that looks really good for N64.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I know we have to. Oh, there's me being terrible at video games again. But yeah, weapon-wise, not a lot of switching off going on here. Just sort of shoot and go and shoot and go. And obviously, somebody that's good at this game is laughing at me right now, just like, wow, this dude is just pathetic. But you know, it's been a while too. And playing this on a real N64, I'll tell you, that's a fantastic treat. I was not cool enough back in the day to have this game on my N64. This is Per Schneider's copy here, and I first experienced this when it was released on Wii Virtual Console. It was a day one purchase for me.
Yeah.
Just absolutely love it. So guys, let us know what you think. If you've played Sin and Punishment, if you're any good at it, if you like ye old treasure games, let us know. And Chris, anything else to add?
No, it looks like a lot of fun.
It is.
I might go download this tonight.
Yeah, you really should. It's a wonderful, wonderful title, and it's one of those games that it's possible. I've spent some time with it before to get good at when you practice. I mean, what I'm doing here is reasonably incompetent, but like a lot of good shooters, it's all about perfecting your form until you're just stellar at it. And with enough practice, this game really just goes for a lot of replay value, even though the campaign isn't much more than an hour long in its base form.
I really like the music, too. Sorry to cut you off.
That's okay. There's not a lot of great music on the N64. A limitation of the hardware, largely, but they did a good job with it here. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Check out some of our other Nintendo 125-related videos. And for all your treasure and Star Successor and Sin and Punishment needs and all the rest of that. Well, maybe not for every Sin and Punishment you have in life.
Don't
but
overpromise.
For all the video game ones, keep it locked to your friends here at IGN.